Today, we're just going to do an introduction to decimals. We're not going to go completely through the decimals, but we're going to talk about place value again. We have gone over that in an earlier video. We're going to compare decimals, and then we are going to learn how to round those. And that's going to be all the practice again for this weekend, because I want you to focus on those positives and negatives, and then finish out the homework from yesterday and the homework for today. Another short lesson today. All right. They are going to tell you in this first worksheet, they're going to talk about use this symbol, or this symbol. Now, some of you need to remember what these mean. In junior high and sometimes in grade school, they refer to these as an alligator mouth, and the alligator mouth it opens up to the biggest number. Okay, and that's fine. And that will work okay in today's lesson, but you need to start to be able to read these so you know what they say. There are going to be problems very soon that you can't use the alligator mouth allegory. So this one, and the way you can remember these, if you think about a number line, this way gets bigger, right? Look at the sign. This way gets bigger, so this is greater than. That's what this symbol means, is greater than. Of course, this one on the number line, you go to the left, it gets smaller. And look at the sign. Look at the little arrow there. That is the same as this, so it is less than. And of course, now, y'all should be familiar. This is equal or equivalent. Sometimes you'll see the word equivalent means equals. Let me get a rag. Left them at home. Oh, okay. So let's do an example here, and I want to make sure that you understand how to do these. If we have 5.17, and they're going to have a box here, and then it says 5.4. Well, if you notice, they're both fives. Sometimes these are closer. I want to show you how to compare these. This has 2 decimal places. This has only 1 decimal place. It's much easier to compare your decimals if you make the number of decimal places match. So here, this has 2 decimal places. Let's make this one have 2 decimal places. Okay, you can add zeros as much as you need to make them have the same amount of decimal places. Now, if you look, the 5 matches, so it's equal so far. But if you look at the next number, the 1 and the 4, which one's bigger? The 4, right? So that makes this larger, okay? So if you read from here, 5.17 is less than this, is less than. And on this particular page, the alligator mouth will work, okay? The 5.4 is the bigger part, so the alligator is going to eat the larger number, okay? But definitely get used to using the words when you see the sign. This will help you later when we're working problems where you can't use the alligator mouth. Everybody good? All right. Also, This is a really good way. You compare the first numbers, you compare the second numbers. When they're different, when it starts to be different, that's when you can tell whether it's less than or greater than or whatever, okay? Some people like to look at it as soon as they have the decimal places the same, they like to say 517, 540. You know, you can think in your head. And of course, 540 is larger. Either way will work, okay? But the key here is if you're trying to find out the bigger number or the smaller number, or on one of these worksheets, you put them in order, then you need, the key is make all of your decimals have the same amount of decimal places and it'll be good. Okay? Okay. Let's do another example off of that sheet. $28.5, 28.3. Okay, the very first thing, if you're going to compare or put things in order, let's make sure they have the same amount of decimal places. And in this case, it has one place after the decimal, has one place after the decimal. So we're good. You can either compare, so they're still the same, compare, they're still the same. And then this is where it gets different. So which sign am I going to use?
The left side.
28.5 is greater than. And I heard some of the online people, I'm not sure which one it was. Okay, and if you are a person that does it the other way, we have 285, 283, which one's bigger, okay? Be careful not to get these mixed up. Just learn to memorize these right now, okay? It'll be easier when we get to the next stuff. Any problems there, guys? My remote people?
I got it.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to give you another one off the second sheet. It's the same stuff. They're just giving you different numbers. Good practice. So let's do this. 1.22. 1.221. Okay, Simon, tell me what to do here.
You match them up, so like the 1 and 1.
Okay, the 1 and 1.
And the 2 and 2. And then the that's 2 and 2. But since it has an extra one, you would add a 0.
Yep.
Need to make sure that has the same amount of decimal places. Now I'm going to match the 0 and the 1, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so what sign do I put in the box?
It would be less than.
Good, is less than. I like using the words. Very good. Very, very good. Anybody have questions on that? We doing okay online?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, moving on. I'll give you 2 more here and then we're going to round. Rachel, you know you're coming next, right?
Oh yeah, I see the eyes.
You've learned to know me, huh? All right, let's look at this one. It starts to get a little confusing here. But if you'll follow the steps that I tell you, what do you need to do first?
Arrow.
Okay, let's compare. So the 3s are the same, no problem.
The 8s are the same.
Got it?
0 is the same. We'll have to add another 0. And then
Take that 0 out.
And then what?
And then you'll pair it.
Okay,
from
pair
one.
this one and this.
Yeah.
And immediately you find out which sign am I going to use. The greater than, yay. So I feel like you've got a good feel for this, right? Now I didn't give you any examples, but there will be some equals. Okay, when they're exactly the same.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, and I thought I might have heard someone talking. Did you have a question or just chiming in? No questions? Okay,
No, just,
we're good?
no.
Okay, the next one is called comparing decimals. Comparing decimals, and they'll give you a list, and in the instructions, they tell you what to do with the list. So here's the first one, 10.525. Then they have a comma. And a comma. Okay, and the instructions say, circle the greatest decimal. Circle the greatest decimal. So the very first thing you should do is look at the decimal places. And it looks like all of them have 3 decimal places, so we're good there. Then we can see that the ones match,
Yeah.
the zeros match,
5.
the 5s do not match.
Oh, no. No, this is 0.
But that still doesn't tell us which one's the largest, right? It just says this one's the smallest. And again, the instructions say circle the largest one.
Mhm.
We know that that's smaller than all the others, so let's just get rid of that one. And now the 5s all match, so we have to go to the next number. And the next number is the 2, 2, 1, and 5.
So cross out the 10.15 by 10.
10.15, gonna cross that out. And so we have 2, 2, and 5.
So these 2 get marked out. and
Good.
at the end, it's the greatest.
And this one's the greatest
Yes.
because of the 5. Okay. Eliminate, 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 but you know how we go from place to place to place and compare. Any problems there?
No, I
Yay.
did this on a social.
Do you need me?
No. Oh, no. She don't need it.
Doesn't bother me when family has the class. Okay, I'm gonna ask. Vanessa. What about you? Okay, pardon the interruption. So now we know how to work that worksheet where we find out the greatest. And it's up to you, but it might be really good practice not only to find the greatest, but try to put them in order. Okay? And that's totally up to you. It doesn't ask you to do that. Now we're ready to round some numbers, and it's going to depend on what they tell you to round it to. Okay? And all of you have done rounding at one time or another, but let's see if we can't make it simple, a simple process. So the first worksheet that I gave you, all of them say we're going to round to the nearest hundredth. So to round, you have to know the places. You have to know your place value. So let's look at the very first one on that sheet. And we have 3.501. 9. Now, you know that I'm a person that likes steps, and I like steps done in order. So the very first thing we need to do is make sure what the instructions said. The instructions said to round to the nearest hundredths place. So we need to know which number's in the hundredths place. Can you tell me?
0.
The 0. The 0 is in the hundredths place. We started the decimal. This is tenths, hundredths, thousandths. Tenths, hundredths, thousandths. So if it says round to the nearest hundredth, underline the hundredths place. Underline the hundredths place.
Ariel,
Then what you're going to do is look at the very next number. Now, what they want is this number, because that is the last place they want to see. The hundredths place is the end. But to round, you need to look at the next number that's on the outside. If it is 5 or above, it will make this go higher. If it's 5 or above. If it's 5 or above, it will bump this one up to the next one. So your answer would be 3.51 would be the answer, rounded to the nearest hundredth. Now the key to this is if you'll underline that and draw a box, then you'll know what the outsider is that will decide. I'm so glad to see you guys. That will decide whether you're going to round up or not. Of course, if it's 5 or above, it's going to bump that up. If it's 4 or less, you just leave it alone. Okay? But the key here is to underline the place that they're talking about first. Any questions on the first one? Okay. Let's do this one. The instructions are still to round to the nearest hundredths place. So immediately, because you know which place is which, what number is in the hundredths place? They want you to round it to the hundredths. The 2. So we underline the 2 and draw a box. They don't want those other numbers. They just want this answer right here. But you have to look at the outsider. If it's 5 or above, it's going to bump this up. So now we have 4.63 would be your answer to rounding to the nearest hundred. Are we good?
Yeah.
Okay, now let's take this same number, because actually these next instructions are easy. We're going to take the same number. They're easy, but sometimes people get mixed up on these. So I'm going to do 4.6267, but my instructions this time are going to be round to the nearest whole number. Well, the nearest whole number is the number that's in front of the decimal, the nearest whole number. So there it is. This is what they want for an answer, but look at the outsider.
you bumped it up.
It's going to bump it up, and so my answer to the nearest whole number is going to be 5.
That's it.
That's it, because that is a whole number. They don't want any decimal places. Now you will run into this one. I might have to make one up because there's not one here. Everybody has this?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's round this to the nearest hundredth again, okay? All right. Okay, and I want to round this number to the nearest hundredth. So which number is in the hundredths place? 9, underline it, draw the box. This is all they want right there. Okay, so the straggler out here is larger than 5, so this is going to boost this up. But if it boosts it up, it's going to boost it to 10, right?
Right.
So this is going to be 10, but you have to carry the 1, just like in addition. And so your answer will be 17.70. This one's confusing sometimes. Okay, just understand that you're going to carry. If it rounds up to 10, go ahead and carry. You might even have this. Let me give you another example. What happens here?
We'll change that to 10,
10.
changing the other 9 to 10, and it changes the 17 to 18.
This is true. Now, notice that these are zeros, okay? It looks like this is rounded to the nearest whole number. But if they say, I want this rounded to the nearest hundredth, then you need to have places to the hundredths place. You see, the very last one in your answer still has to be a hundredths place, even if it's 0. Everybody understand?
Yes.
So rounding, we're good? Okay, and you get a lot of practice here. Another sheet, and this one has words, but you're doing the same thing. It'll just give you the different instructions, rounding to nearest whole number, the nearest tenth, and the nearest hundredth. Okay, and then you have another one, and it underlines what they want it to be rounded to. Okay, all right. Now that takes care of packet 1 today, okay? And that's all that I'm going to instruct you to practice on today, because again, I want you to be working on negatives and positives, really get that down, okay? Today and the rest of the weekend. It will help you so much if you'll have those negatives and positive rules in your head. Because those of you that have been with me for a while know we hit those negatives and positives all the time. Yes, and it's going to be so much easier for you, same as knowing your multiplication facts. So it's good to practice on those. Now we have calculators and it's fine, but always remember those first 5 questions that you have to do without a calculator. Let's learn as much as you can and get that in your head, okay? Now, I want to go ahead and explain to you the next packet. It's going to be adding and subtracting decimals. So if during the weekend you want to go ahead with packet 2, we're going to add and subtract decimals. Now, if you have no trouble adding and subtracting numbers, then the only thing that you need to remember about decimals is line up the decimals. In addition and subtraction, you have to have them lined up. So let's do something. A lot of your problems in packet 2 will say like 9.7 plus 0.345, okay? And they'll write it out long ways like this. The best thing for you to do, now try not to get your calculators out unless you just want to check, but your answers are on the back. You need to write this again up and down so that you can line up your decimals. 9.7, this decimal has to go right here. So you have 0.345, and this says to add, okay? So our decimal places aren't the same, so we're going to make them the same. Remember, you can add as many zeros as you want, so we will make them have the same amount, and then all you do is add and make sure and bring the decimal straight down in the same place, and this would be your answer. Everybody okay? This is just if you want to go on to packet 2. Okay, we will touch again on it and packet 3 on Monday. Now, what if this was subtraction? The same holds true. We have 9.7 subtract. We have to keep the decimal straight again. So we have 0.345. Don't try to do this without making the decimal places the same. And so now you'll get some practice with your borrowing if you haven't done this in a while without calculators. So we can't take 5 away from 0. We're going to make this 10 and borrow. So 10 minus 5 is 5. If any of you need help with basic add and subtract, then be sure and let me know. I have worksheets for those that you can practice on your basic add and subtract and multiply and divide. Okay, so let me know. 7 minus 3 is 4, and 9 minus 0 is 9. Let's round this to the nearest 10th. Nearest 10th place, what would it be?
9.5.
9.5. That's exactly right. He said 9.5, and this is how we got it. We underline the 10th place because that's what I want it rounded to. We draw a box around it. This is the last one in the box, but we have to look at the outsider. This is 5 or above, so it pushes it up and makes our answer 9.5 rounded.
I have a question.
This way is ones, tens, hundreds. After the decimal, it's tenths. There isn't a ones place. It's tenths, hundredths, thousandths, and then it goes in order. But there is not a ones place after the decimal. It starts with tenths. Good question.
I have a question.
Yes.
I got 9.355 and you got 9.455.
Okay, that's probably me again. Oh, okay. The reason is because we didn't have to borrow here. 9 was big enough to take away 4. So I did not have to borrow from here. So 7.
So you don't, even though it was a 0? Because you can't make a 0 without borrowing from the 7 for the 9.
Has to be a 6.
What?
It has to be a 6 because you cannot borrow from the 0. You have to borrow from the 7, don't you, in order to make it? Because there's 2 zeros, not just 1.
No, you just go one step at a time. So watch again. All I did, instead of trying to go really fast, which a lot of people do because they've been doing it for a while, I just take this one first and I say, I can't take 5 away from 0, so I have to borrow a 1. I did, and I borrowed it from here. And, oh,
But you borrowed from a 0, which that means
It's
you got
supposed to be
nothing.
3.
yes, I did, because, oh, it's been a while since I've done it. Okay, so when I borrowed, okay, when I borrowed here, I borrowed really from 70. I got 60.
Oh, okay. I see how you did it now.
Whoa, Deborah. Who was that wonderful person?
I'm glad she said something because I was thinking something too. That's Brittany.
Yeah,
I'm
I just
like,
thought I was
I
getting
Me
it wrong.
too.
I'm telling you,
Me too.
I'm telling you, it's so exciting to have the kind of students that call me on it. Yes, you are
Thank you.
absolutely correct. So does anybody have any questions about that I straightened this out? Yay, girls. Yay. There's only girls on right now, right?
Yes.
Girls. Okay. Now I have a young man in class, but I was talking about you guys. Thank you. And so when we round, it's going to be 9.4 instead of 9.5. Ah, maybe I need to practice some subtraction. Using the calculator way too long. Vanessa, where were you on this? You were thinking? Yeah. Okay, always speak up. You know I'm not perfect. All right.
I don't know, Miss Deborah. You're pretty close.
Listen, you guys have on video proof that I make mistakes. Okay? Math
It's
is all
okay.
about-
Everybody makes mistakes. I was just thinking, like, did I get it wrong?
No, I'm
I'm-
glad you spoke up. I've had students in the past that just go, oh, okay, I guess I'm stupid. No, 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 no. I make mistakes, okay? You've got to call me on it if you're getting something different. Love it. That's as far as I'm going to go today because I want y'all to work on packet number 1. And then if you want to go ahead with add and subtract, go ahead with packet number 2. Number 3 is multiply and divide. It has different rules for the decimals. So I would encourage you to wait unless you know the rules for multiplication, then feel free to go on. But on Monday, we're going to talk a little bit more about the add and subtract, see if I can subtract on Monday. And then we'll do multiply and divide of decimals. And then guess where we get to move?
Integers.
We get to move to fractions.
Oh,
So don't hide from me next week, okay? Oh, I see some really nasty faces.
It'll help my son.
Oh,
He's doing fractions.
oh, right now. Okay, any questions about what you need to be doing today? No? Isabel, a reminder about test on Monday morning, as early as you can get here.
Okay,
Okay,
okay.
if there are not any more questions, I'm gonna stop this recording. But first, I'm gonna tell you how much I love you.
Okay.
we love you too.
Be
Okay.
safe on your trip.
Oh, I will, I'm excited. Okay, see you guys
Have lots
later.
of fun.
Bye.
Okay, bye.